U.S. immigration just took a major turn. What's changing in September 2025? Your green card can now be denied for what you post online. ICE agents are armed. USCIS officers are watching your speech. And citizenship? It's about to get harder. Students on F1 and workers on H1B are under fire. And in Los Angeles, ICE just got permission to stop people based on how they look or speak. This isn't just policy, it's a full shift in how America handles immigration. Let's break it all down. Anti-American views can now affect your green card. In a sweeping policy shift, USCIS will now consider whether you hold anti-American views when deciding immigration benefits like green cards or naturalization. Officers are now instructed to assess whether an applicant has endorsed, promoted, or espoused views that are anti-American. Support for terrorist groups. Anti-Semitic activity. This doesn't mean every critic of the U.S. is banned. But if your online content aligns with groups that promote violence or hate, it could absolutely count against you. USCIS Director Joseph Edlow clarified, "We're not going after anti-Trump speech. Criticism of any administration is one of the most American things you can do. But this is about support for terrorism and destruction of the American way of life." So, if you've posted pro-Hamas content, taken part in aggressive protests, or supported banned groups, your immigration case could now be under serious threat. Yes, they're watching your online activity. Edlow confirmed USCIS is actively monitoring online speech in some cases. No, they won't deny you just for a tweet. But if there's a pattern of violent, extremist, or hate-fueled content, it'll now factor into decisions. This includes social media posts, likes and shares, public group affiliations, participation in controversial protests. Bottom line, your social media history is now fair game in immigration vetting. Be smart. Audit your footprint before applying. USCIS officers will now carry weapons. USCIS is no longer just a paperwork agency. It's now creating a new law enforcement division with armed officers who can make arrests, execute search warrants, investigate fraud directly. Historically, USCIS processed applications and handed criminal matters to other agencies. Not anymore. This new team will target marriage fraud rings, fake asylum claims, criminal enterprises abusing immigration loopholes. They won't patrol the streets. But the agency is now equipped to go after high-level fraud without delay or handoffs. Citizenship test may get much harder. If you're preparing to become a U.S. citizen, brace yourself. USCIS plans to return to the tougher 2020 test introduced under Trump and possibly go even further. That test required more civics questions, emphasized understanding, not memorization. Now they're also considering a mandatory essay, stricter English language testing. Edlow says the current test is too easy and doesn't prove real knowledge of the Constitution or American values. If this goes through, new citizens may have to write and explain ideas in English, not just memorize flashcards. OPT and F1 students in the crosshairs. Around 240,000 international students work in the U.S. under OPT, optional practical training. Some extend their stay to 3 years with STEM degrees. But USCIS sees it differently. Edlow says the program gives an unfair hiring advantage, letting companies avoid hiring U.S. workers by bringing in foreign grads cheaply. No rule changes have been made yet. But this administration is openly questioning the value of post-study work authorization. If you're an international student, expect more paperwork, tighter enforcement, and wage compliance checks. H-1B under fire again. The H-1B program, often used by tech firms, is facing renewed scrutiny in 2025. Edlow argues that companies can now bring in experienced foreign workers more cheaply, instead of hiring Americans at higher wage levels. Translation: more scrutiny on wage levels, job descriptions, and compliance. If you're working on an H-1B, make sure your labor condition application, LCA, matches reality. Mismatches can now trigger deeper investigations. USCIS can now help verify voter rolls. In a quiet but powerful shift, USCIS is working with state governments to help verify voter eligibility. Through the SAVE system, local officials can now check legal status using just the last 4 digits of a social security number. Submit batch requests for verification. Supporters say this helps prevent voter fraud. Critics argue it could wrongfully purge legal voters, invade privacy, lead to profiling or harassment. This will have implications for naturalized citizens and legal residents alike, especially near election cycles. Supreme Court clears ICE to resume LA raids. The U.S. Supreme Court just lifted restrictions that had limited ICE raids in Los Angeles. This means agents can now stop people based on broad common sense factors. A language, appearance, and job type, like day labor or construction, can be used to justify stops. This ruling split 6-3 along ideological lines. Justice Sotomayor, dissenting, warned, all Latinos, citizens or not, who work low-wage jobs, are now fair game to be seized at any time. Expect a rise in street-level encounters across LA and similar areas. Carry ID, know your rights, and don't travel without valid documentation. Massive ICE raid at Hyundai LG plant. In early September, ICE raided a Hyundai LG EV battery plant in Georgia. It was the largest single-site immigration raid in U.S. history. 475 detained. Over 300 South Koreans deported. Others included Japanese, Chinese, and Indonesian nationals. Most were allegedly working manual labor jobs on B-1 business visas, which strictly prohibit that. This caused major diplomatic fallout with South Korea, the U.S.'s 6th largest trading partner. While the administration insists it's about law and order, critics warn it could choke off skilled labor needed for battery, chip, and tech manufacturing. Deportations to shrink U.S. population by 320,000. The Congressional Budget Office, CBO, says Trump's immigration plan will remove around 320,000 people over 10 years. A lower total population growth by 4.5 million by 2035. With declining birth rates, the U.S. will likely see labor shortages, fewer workers aged 25 to 54, slower economic growth. Democrats argue this will raise grocery prices, hurt supply chains, and threaten GDP. The White House counters by pushing for a baby boom, but experts say there's no sign that will happen. Good news. The new policies make it clear what counts as disqualifying, especially with online speech. Illegal, clean cases are still being approved at high volume. Diplomatic pressure, like from South Korea, may create new visa categories or carve-outs. Bad news. If your social media contains hate speech, extremist views, or terror affiliations, you are now at risk. LA is about to see a surge in racially profiled ICE stops. OPT and H-1B visa holders are in the spotlight. Citizenship is about to require more than just memorization. Final thoughts. Whether you're an international student, green card holder, asylum seeker, or undocumented immigrant, the rules just changed. Your words, your status, and your paperwork are now all under a microscope. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon for future updates. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.